Hello and welcome back to the video where I'm doing a guide on how I lay out my villages on Medieval Dynasty. First video is literally the initial setup, because when you first start you only have a limited amount, so I put down how I initially start getting my first lot of villages and how I initially lay it out. This one is going to be what I then do for the second steps in order to grow the village quicker. So let's get into it, shall we? Right then, now in the previous video I got my first two villages and now it's where to go from here. One thing with this game is things that are useful is things like trees, hops, things like that. So when you get into like towards the end of the game you can get your tavern, you can make beer and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, hops and obviously fruit trees take absolutely fucking ages to grow. So what I tend to do is I get them done and get them down as soon as I can. But the problem is with that is you need to know where you're going to put them, because that is a permanent fixture where everything else can be moved except all the trees that you grow and things like that. So because what my plan is I'm going to be growing around here, but I'm going to run a road from the main road here to my village. So I then need to figure out where I want to put all my hops and that are going to be out the way, where I can leave them. It's not going to interfere with my main village when I actually start putting in new buildings and actually lay it out and design it how I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over here somewhere. That way I'll have a dedicated people to work them fields. So I'll have to put buildings near there. Right, and so if I head over here, because this is the main area that I'm going to be having my village and crop fields and things like that. But over here is where I'm probably going to put my orchard. That way it's out the way and it's already static. So then I know I can't use this area to put buildings down in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these trees cleared, and then I will, once I've got the trees cleared, and then I'll show you where I put the orchard and how I lay them out. So I shall be back shortly. Okay then, and I'm back. As you can see, I have cleared this area out and I picked up all the stumps. So now it's marking down and preparing the area of where I want to put the orchard. The thing is with crops in this game is they can only be aligned one way, and I think that's north to south. A bit odd, but there we go. So we've got farming, orchard, and then it's put the one marker down. Come on. There we go. Right then. And 4. How do I do it? It's 2. 2 by 4. 3 by 4. Right, okay. Right, so I've done a 5 by 4. The reason why I do it like that is because I'll do 2 of each tree, and then I will then go, and then the rest will be hops. As I say, trees and hops take ages to mature. So if you're planning to make alcohol, the best thing to do is to get it down and get the trees planted as quick as possible. But now this area is now grubbed. So the next thing to do would be to get it planted. Now, because it's still early game, you're not going to have all that much money in order to buy things like the cherry plants, the cherry trees, pear trees, apple trees, etc. So you need to get money. With that, the next building I build is the smithy, because once you've got the smithy down, you can then head to the mines and just start gathering tin and copper. Obviously smelt them down, and then you can make it into bronze, and then what you can do is you just make a shitload of bronze knives. That way you'll start making money, so you can then get the plants you need. So let's get this smithy built. Okay, and here is the smithy. So now that I've got this down, it means I'm now going to have to go to the mine and start gathering tin and copper. Sell the bars, we'll make them into knives, or just something, axes, things like that, and just sell them. You can get a decent amount of money for them, and it helps build up your cash in the early game. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head off to the mine, and then I shall be back shortly. But okay then, just a quick one. Obviously I've got to the mine, and what I tend to do when I first get into the mine is there's 3 resources you can get: tin, salt and copper. I don't worry about the salt, not to begin with. Gather that quite easily later on down the line. So it's just tin and the copper you want. What I do is head in, hold survival, and then it will highlight where the nodes are. You can actually tell reasonably well what, I know that that's salt by the way it looks. That one I'm probably tin, no it's copper. But as you can see, they do look slightly different, so you can tell the difference at a glance. And then just while still holding survival, early game, one of the perks you do need to pick up quickly. Right, this is the one you want. It's in production and it's full focus. Inspector mode doesn't consume stamina. That is what you need to pick that up as soon as you possibly can. As I said, that way you can literally hold the inspector, see where all the nodes are without it consuming stamina. I'm going to carry on mining this copper and tin, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, right then, I'm back. I'm now back to my village, as you can see. The beauty of going up to the mines as soon as you can as well isn't just for the tin and copper to make your bronze ingots and things like that. It also nets you a shitload of stone. So it means you don't have to worry about walking around picking up individual stones off the deck, where what it actually does, it will give you quite a bit of stone. Just through one run in the cave, I've got 282 stone now. Saves you time having to walk around picking up individually. Also, the beauty with the mines as well is they replenish after every season. So once you've completely cleared out the mine, all you have to do is wait till the end of the season and then it will refresh. So one thing I also tend to do is before the season, on the last day before the season ends, what I'll do is I'll grab a torch and I'll just head to the mine, regardless of whether you need it all at that moment or not. Just run up there and just clear the fucking mine out. That way, when the season's changed, it's fresh mine, and you can then start building up a backlog of tin and copper. So now I am going to turn these. Right, so you need to turn the copper, turn them into copper bars. I think it's 2 copper for 1 bar. I've got quick crafted on, so 1 round of crafting crafts everything. Let's get the tin done. And then after the tin, right, now before you make the bronze in order to sell them, what I would do first, right, so I'm going to unlock the copper axe, and then I'm going to make a couple of these. The reason why I've made 2 of them is because I'm now going to put them over in the woodworking hut. Because right now they've only got stone axes in there. That way they'll last longer and they'll produce a little bit more because they've got better tools, so they'll produce more. Right, so now I've got copper and tin. Now it is a matter of forging that into bronze. The reason why I'm choosing bronze is because it sells more, obviously. Because right now I want to get at least some hops, and I want to try and at least get 1 of each of the trees that I want to get down in my orchard. I'm going to go up to the village shortly, but now is the time. I've got a spare villager. He's doing absolutely fuck all at the moment, so it's time to get him a job. So what I want him to do is I'm going to have him gathering thatch, well, straw. So I need to build an excavation shed. Right, so now I've got the excavation shed. What I need to do is I need to allocate it. So it's management, extraction, excavation shed, and then edit assignment. Now you can have them gather the copper, stone, but at this sort of stage it's a bit slow to do that. So what I tend to do is in the very beginning just have them gathering straw. It makes it so much fucking easier for you. So he's going to gather hopefully 100 straw after every day. Okay then, I'm getting ready to head to the village. We're trying to pick up some saplings and some hops. But one thing I will say though, is when you're doing your initial cutting down trees and grabbing branches and all this kind of stuff from here, what you can actually do is you can actually pick up saplings and have them in your inventory while you're initially setting up. My inventory here, I've already picked up 10 birch saplings. I've also got cherry tree sapling and a pear sapling, so I've already got 2 of them. So what I can do is get these put in. Right, so now I've already got 2 saplings down. And as I said, the reason why I'm getting these down at the very early stages is because they take fucking ages to mature before you can actually start getting any sort of resources from them. So now I am going to head to the village and I'm going to sell shit that I don't need, and then I'm going to pick up some hops and hopefully some other saplings. So to that end, I shall be back with you once I get to the village. Okay, I'm back and I'm outside the village. Now, I'm doing this on the Oxbow map, so a lot easier than the original one, because where they have all their shops in pretty much one area, which is right here. But if you're looking, if you're playing on the original map or Oxbow, if you want to find merchants and you can't see where they are, go into survival mode, and then if you find the people with the little bag symbol next to them, they're shopkeepers, so you can find them wherever they are inside the village. So I am going to head the general merchant.
Hello there.
I'll show me your wares. When it comes to selling things as well, it doesn't matter who you sell items to. So it's like the weapons merchant will buy absolutely everything. It's not just weapons they will buy. So it's a good way that you can actually make a large amount of money, because each shopkeeper has a finite amount of money. What I tend to do, buy a load of stuff. While you're here, it's also a good idea to start preparing for what it is you want next, because you do with things like flax or rye, things like that, something where you can actually get straw from your crops and then sell what you want. Because one of the things that I do mid sort of game is I start making things like rye bread. So you want to get yourself a cook and then a kitchen and make rye bread, because that's a great way to make money and it's reasonably easier to get. So you could buy your manure, because then you can turn the manure into fertilizer. You don't need to buy loads straight off the bat, because you'll get seeds once you break it down. So what you want to do is you want to start with a small crop first. I'm out of money now and he's got all my money, but you have still got your shit to sell, so then you can sell it all. So now I've cleared him out and I've still got shitloads of bronze that I can sell. So now I can then buy other bits and pieces that I need. So this guy is a great guy to have, because now it's a matter of just picking up things that you think that would be useful for you in the early game to get going, because now it's about getting the momentum to carry on. What I could do is I could buy planks, because then I can use that to make other bits and pieces. Same as your logs, sticks, things like that. But you can also buy ore. So if you've got everything that you need, so what you can do is you can actually make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I could, because I know I've got copper bars back in my resources shed, it means if I buy some tin, I can then make more bronze, because I've already got copper back there. So now I've cleared him out again, and while I'm here, it's a matter of just figuring, see if there's anything else that you need. I've bought everything that I need for now. And as I said, you can sell whatever it is you want to whatever trader. It's not restricted to items that they'll buy from you. So once you start snowballing with getting things like your hatchets and all that kind of stuff, that's all I do is I just make a load of fucking hatchets and then start selling them. But the reason why I haven't bought any more copper and things like that to make more bronze is because I actually need the money in order to unlock all the plans for things like the hatchets. And then what I could do is I can do it with bronze. So I can make bronze hatchets and they'll sell for a shitload more. So I think they sell for like 300 coins per fucking hatchet. So you could buy a shitload of stuff to help you move forward, then start proper snowballing. But one thing you do need to be aware of, you will get a herald come to a village and they always go to the tavern. Once they arrive, the symbol they've got is not here at the moment, I don't think. No. The herald, the symbol is basically like a trumpet in your compass bar at the top. So you want to find him, and then what you could do is you could start building up, do missions for him to build up your reputation, so you can then you can name your village and put a signpost. Because right now, the only way to get back to my village is literally to fucking run backwards and forwards. You can't fast travel. But there is a fast travel system in this game. If I can find it. I'm going to go find him, 2 seconds. Right then, okay, I found him. This is actually a fast travel system. So what you could do, go at the wagoner, need a ride, and then you can pick where you want to go and it tells you how much it's going to cost you to do it. But if I go to hit my village, it says you can't because my village isn't on the map. So that's where the herald comes into it. But the herald has some fucking strange missions where you have to make all sorts of random shit, and it could be stuff that you haven't even unlocked yet. So that can be a bit of a pain because that's more mid to late game. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to carry on where I'm going from now. So I shall see you shortly. Okay then, and I am back. I've planted the saplings that I've bought. You can buy more as you need and expand your orchard as you go, but that's what I do very early on. Get at least a couple down of each type, because as I said, they take ages to grow. So now the next thing that I do is I need to get an initial field down in order to help with getting things like straw. This is now where you want to start trying to snowball as much as you can. So now is the time to start actually thinking about where you can start putting everything that you want. Now, when you get to the stage where you could have more buildings, what I do is I put down another woodworking hut. Because logs, planks and firewood are things that you need fucking shitloads of. Especially when you start coming to building bigger buildings. Do things, you'll actually start leveling up. Things like your survival, your building, your hunting, all that kind of stuff. So what you want to try and do is you want to get to the point where you can build level 2 woodshed. The beauty of the level 2 woodshed is you can now have 2 people working in that shed instead of just one with the level 1. So let's get this built. There is a setting in the settings that you can actually use. You don't actually have to have the resources on you. You can use it straight from your resources shed. But there is a building limit to it. So there is a limit to where you have to be before you're out of that limit to use the resources. Because that woodshed is going to be out of the way and I'm too far away to use the resources that are in the shed, what you can do is, if I just destroy that, what you can do is literally get into a position that's closer to your resources shed. Woodshed 2, like that, and now it's using resources straight from my shed. Here's the woodshed, so that's all completed. But where my wood cutters are working, their house is over there. Because as I said before, you don't want them, you want their houses right near where they work. Because the longer it takes for them to get to their workstation is time taken out of them actually producing what it is you want them to produce. So, what you can do is you can move. Give it a hit. Run over to where you want it. And then place it down. So, but as I said, I'm outside the range of actually being able to pull resources from my resources shed. But what's weird about this is the workers, there's no distance that they can put resources into the shed. So that will come in a bit later, because when you start building the mine, you've got your village here, and where my mine is over here. So if I set work, so once I put the mine in and I have the workers working in the mine, what you can actually do is there's no set limit to where you can actually build. So this is my village here, but I can actually build houses right next to the mine, which is what I do. So in the later stages, you can have 8 people working in the mine, and then you just build enough houses around the mine, so they've only got a short distance to get to it. And you don't even need to build a resources shed nearby, because it automatically goes straight into your resources shed at your actual village. Which I think is a bit of a weird concept, but it actually helps. This is roughly where I'm going to be having all the woodcutters, because what I'll do is I'm going to change this for another level 2, which I will do shortly. But what I'm going to do is I'm now going to design my woodcutting area, so where I have all the villagers woodcutting. So now I will sort that out. So I'll be back to you once I've got the woodcutters located, and I've built a few more buildings over here because it's closer to my resources shed. I've built 2 houses, woodshed level 2. For you it may take a little bit longer to get to level 2, but I'm just doing it because I've got my settings sped up, so it'll make it easier. But now I want to move these, and I have these over here. So when I put buildings down, I use a form of grid system. So I will put a level 2, I'll put my woodcutters here. Get this moved. Yes, put here. Right, and then put the woodcutter shed next to each other. Like that. Now I have 2 woodcutting sheds down. So what I want to do is, as I said, you want to have their living accommodation as close as you can to their actual work site. Now, as I said, I use a grid system when I put buildings down. So now that's their house there. So now what I want to do is turn it so the entrance is right in front of theirs. So there's that one. There we go. Now these 2 haven't been assigned yet. This one has already got 2 people living in it, which is for the excavation hut and the woodshed over there, but I'm going to get them moved. So to management, and make sure I put them in the right one. Because I've got my settings boosted, their levels for extraction have gone up quite quickly. Even if you have it on normal settings, they will still level up quite quickly. So now I've got 2 people working in this woodshed. So now you want to go to the woodshed that's got 2 people in it. Go across to edit assignment. Now, the reason why I've got 2 lumberjack locations is because you want one predominantly getting logs and sticks. They're producing 86 logs a day. instead of beforehand with one person it was only 20 logs a day. So that's now ready for when I go get more villagers, which I'll do in a minute. And now I don't need this level 1. Right, now the next thing you need to put down as well is getting things like get your hunting stands down, because you'll need them to go out and start gathering meat. So let's get this moved and get this ready. So as I said, I use a grid system. So I put 4 houses in a block. But obviously I'm just rushes down at the moment, because normally I'd straighten it up a little bit more. So now there'll be another house put next to it. So now in front of this, I want to put down a hunting thing. So we'll do that. Right then. So now I have my hunting building. Early game, I just have them gathering meat. That's it, because that's all you need. You just want them getting as much meat in as you possibly can. Instead of running off, getting a worker, coming back, sorting it out, then having to run off again, get everything ready first. Because while you're doing all this and then moving around and getting the people that you need, you're waiting for the mine to reopen up, or you can just go find another mine. One down here. Right, so this is now ready to go. So what I need now is I need 2 workers for the new wood cutting hut, and I need another worker for the hunting lodge. You've got these houses that are already set up, so you can just choose them. But what you can also do is you can manage it, change the name of it, so you know which house is for where. That becomes more prevalent when you actually start having houses up near your mine. That way you know which houses are at the mine. Right then, so I've changed the name of this one. As you can see, this is now a small house, wood. So I know that this house is in front of a wood carving station. This house will be the hunter's house. Said when you grab more people, you know which house you need to put them in. So instead of you getting it all wrong and you have say you got houses over that way somewhere, you don't want them to be living in that house and working all the way over here. Because as I said, the amount of time it takes for them to get to their location to work, the better. Right, so I need 2 more people for this. I've got 2 people in there. So I need a hunter and 2 more extractors. Right then, I'm going to go find some people. So I shall be back shortly. Okay then, and I am back. I've gathered a couple of people. So now I have 2 more people working the second wood cutting shed, and I also have 2 people in the hunter's location. So the hunter's now going to be just gathering nothing but meat. So the next thing I'm going to be building is I'll put another house here, and then it will be a herbalist hut. I'll get it built and then I'll show you once I've got it built. I shall be back shortly. Okay, and I am back. I'll straighten these out in a bit. Right now I've built a second house because that will be for the herbalist. What I do with a herbalist is you can set it up seasonally. Spring, summer and autumn. Get them gathering what you want. For the winter time when nothing is fucking growing, that's when you have them making the potions. But I haven't unlocked the potion yet, so that's what I generally do with the woodworking. So during all the seasons they're always doing something. But because these need wooden vials and buckets of water, you will need to build more buckets again. So you'll need to, where you demolished the workshop earlier, put another workshop down. But have the workshop only you making the buckets, and then in the workshop as well you can also make the wooden vials. So you get more and more of the healing potions, so then you can also sell the healing potions in the shop later on down the line, or when you go into town, so when you want to buy other things that you need in order to progress further. So as I said, this is the second stage of what I do. Get more woodworking sections down, get a herbalist hut down and a hunter's hut down. This is how I carry on with the earlier game stuff. I think the next one, it will be where I put my farmland down, because the next step from here is to actually start getting your farming stuff done. Because I mainly do 3 basic crops: flax, rye, and then cabbages, whichever one you want to do. And then it's a matter of getting the people to work the fields, but when you first get it done, it's best for you to do it yourself. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, I'll be making another one soon, which will be based around the farming side. Like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. I read all my comments and I'll answer them as best I can. If you've got any questions in the comments, have fun. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.